Hola a todos. Hoy vamos a revelarte una técnica novedosa para aprender inglés que te sorprenderá por su efectividad. Si buscas algo diferente para mejorar, este video es para ti. Quédate hasta el final y si te gusta lo que ves, no olvides darle like, suscribirte y dejarnos un comentario. Empecemos. The Lion and the Patient Turtle. Once upon a time, there was a strong and proud lion, known as the king of the jungle. His name was Leo. Leo liked to be the fastest, the strongest, and of course, the most feared. All the animals respected him, but deep down, he always had a doubt. Was there something or someone stronger than him? One day, while walking through the jungle, Leo saw a turtle. The turtle was moving very slowly, dragging its heavy shell along the ground. Leo, seeing it, couldn't help but laugh. How can you live being so slow? Leo mocked. The turtle, whose name was Taika, raised her head and looked at him calmly. Speed isn't everything, Leo, she replied calmly. Leo, still laughing, proposed a race. If you manage to get to the top of that hill before the day is over, I'll let you live in peace, he exclaimed. Taika accepted the challenge without hesitation. She knew she couldn't beat Leo in speed, but she trusted in his patience. So while the lion ran back and forth, showing off his speed, Taika moved forward slowly, one step after another. The sun moved slowly in the sky, and Leo grew impatient. Every now and then, he saw Taika keep moving forward, always at the same pace, without stopping. Why don't you give up? Leo shouted from the top of the hill. But Taika didn't give up. Her slow but steady pace brought her closer and closer to the top. Leo, tired of waiting, decided to take a nap under a tree. I have all the time in the world, he thought, closing his eyes. While Leo slept, Taika continued to move forward. When the sun began to set, Taika reached the top of the hill, just as the last rays of light touched the ground. Leo woke up startled by the applause of the other animals. When he opened his eyes, he saw Taika at the top, surrounded by all the animals of the jungle, who were applauding and congratulating her. The lion, still surprised, understood the lesson. Strength and speed do not always win. Sometimes, patience and perseverance are the true keys to success. Moral: patience and perseverance will take you further than strength and speed. Never underestimate the power of moving forward, even slowly. But this is not the end of the story. In fact, the story is just beginning. After the race, Taika and Leo became friends. Together, they began to explore the jungle, discovering that there was much more to learn and share. Every time they encountered a new challenge, they faced it together, combining Leo's speed and strength with Taika's patience and wisdom. The jungle was a magical place, full of mysteries and adventures. There were rivers to cross, mountains to climb, and secrets to unearth. And at every step, Leo and Taika learned something new. One day, they found a secret cave, hidden under a huge tree. Inside the cave, there was an ancient map that showed the way to a forgotten treasure, a treasure that, according to legend, could grant any wish. Leo, excited,
wanted to run to the treasure right away. But Taika, with her usual calmness, suggested that they take it carefully. After all, the paths to great treasures are always full of traps and challenges. And so, they began a new adventure, following the map, facing each obstacle with a combination of strength, speed, patience and wisdom. Moral of this new part: the real treasure is not always what you find at the end, but what you learn along the way. But of course, the adventure continues. What other challenges will Leo and Taika encounter? What wishes will the treasure hold for them? The story has no end, because as long as there are dreams, challenges, and friends to share them with, the adventure will always continue. Leo and Taika followed the map with great enthusiasm. The path took them through dense jungles, dangerous cliffs, and rushing rivers. At each stop, Taika watched the surroundings carefully, while Leo remained alert, ready to face any danger. One day, they came to a suspension bridge that swung over a deep abyss. The bridge was old and looked like it could break at any moment. Leo, with his courage, decided to cross first. But when he took the first step, the bridge creaked under his weight. "Wait, Leo!" Taika shouted. "Maybe there is another way to cross." Leo stopped and looked at Taika, somewhat confused. He had always trusted in his strength, but now he understood that he must also trust in his friend's wisdom. Taika surveyed the area and discovered some thick vines hanging from nearby trees. Carefully, she tied them to the bridge, reinforcing it. Now, although the bridge was still fragile, it was safer to cross. With patience and care, the two managed to cross the chasm. Leo, impressed, thanked Taika for her ingenuity. Moral: intelligence and caution are as important as bravery. After crossing the bridge, they continued forward until they reached a desert area. The heat was overwhelming and they soon began to feel exhausted. Water was scarce, and they both realized that they could not continue without a break. While they were looking for shelter, Leo found a small, cool cave where they could take shelter from the sun. They lay down and, as they rested, they began to dream of what they would do if they found the treasure. Leo dreamed of being the most powerful king of the jungle, able to protect all the animals. Taika, on the other hand, dreamed of a place where all animals lived in harmony, without the need to compete or fight. When they woke up, they realized that their desires were not so different. They both wanted the best for the jungle and its inhabitants, but they realized that power and peace did not always go hand in hand. They pondered how they could achieve both dreams without sacrificing one for the other. Moral: true leaders seek the well-being of all, not just their own. The journey continued until, finally, they reached a large mountain. According to the map, the treasure was hidden at the top. The mountain was high and steep, and climbing it would require all their strength and skills. Taika, with her patience, suggested alternative paths, longer but less dangerous. Leo, with his energy, led on the more complicated stretches, helping Taika when the terrain became difficult. Working as a team, they managed to ascend the mountain. Upon reaching the top, they found a stone door with ancient inscriptions. The words were in a forgotten language, but Taika, with her wisdom, managed to decipher the message: the true treasure is not gold or silver, but the heart that searches with purity. Confused at first, Leo and Taika pushed the door and, when it opened, they found a bright light that enveloped them. Suddenly, they felt an inner peace that they had never experienced before. They understood that the treasure was not something material, but the journey they had shared, the lessons learned and the friendship they had cultivated. Final moral: sometimes, the most valuable treasure is the journey and the connections you make along the way. But, although they found peace, they knew that the jungle still held many mysteries. And so, they decided not to stop. Because as long as there were paths to travel and lessons to learn, Leo and Taika's story would never have a true end. The adventure would continue, like a never-ending story, full of magic, challenges and above all, friendship. The light that surrounded Leo and Taika filled them with a new energy. As the light faded, they found themselves in a completely different landscape. They were no longer on the top of the mountain, but in a vast meadow covered in bright flowers and giant trees that touched the sky. In the distance, they could see a castle made of crystal. It was so sparkling that it seemed to be made of pure light. Without hesitation, they began to walk towards it, guided by a sense of curiosity and excitement. As they approached the castle, they noticed that there was a river running around it. The water was so clear that they could see all the way to the bottom, where gemstones of all colors were shining. However, there was no bridge to cross. Leo looked at Taika, waiting for an idea. "We don't always need to find a bridge," Taika said with a smile. Then, she slowly dove into the water. Surprisingly, the water was warm and pleasant, not as deep as it looked. Leo followed her, and together they crossed the river with ease, enjoying the gentle flow of the water. When they reached the other side, they encountered a strange being. It was a small creature, about the size of a rabbit, but with transparent, shiny wings like those of a dragonfly. The creature greeted them with a soft, melodious voice. "Welcome to the Valley of Dreams," the creature said. "I am Lilu, guardian of the castle. Only those who search with a pure heart can enter." Leo and Taika looked at each other. They knew they had come here not out of greed or ambition, but out of friendship and a desire to learn. Lilu, seeing the sincerity in their eyes, led them to the entrance of the castle. The interior of the castle was even more amazing. Each room was filled with wonders: trees that grew from the floor to the ceiling, fountains that gushed with golden water, and mirrors that showed not only the reflection of the person looking into it, but also their deepest dreams and desires. In a special room, they found a large, ancient book placed on a glass pedestal. Lilu explained to them that this book contained all the stories ever told, and that each page wrote itself, revealing new adventures and knowledge to those who read it with humility. Taika, ever curious, opened the book. As she did, the pages began to glow and the words appeared as if they were alive. The story that was forming before her eyes was hers, Leo and Taika's, from the moment they met until that very moment. But then, something incredible happened. The pages that followed were blank, waiting to be written. "This is your next challenge," Lilu said. "Every decision you make, every path you choose, will fill these blank pages. There is no fixed destination, but endless possibilities. The story has no end, because there is always more to discover." Leo, amazed, looked at Taika. They both understood that their journey did not end there. The castle, the book, the valley of dreams, everything was part of a much bigger adventure. And the most exciting thing was that they were not alone. They had Lilu, their new friend, and they knew that as long as they were together, they could face any challenge. They left the castle with their hearts full of hope. The world around them was vast and full of wonders they had not yet seen. As they walked through the meadow, the sun shone with a soft, welcoming warmth, as if welcoming them to a new chapter of their story. Moral: life is full of blank pages, waiting to be written with every decision and action. The real treasure is in the adventure of discovering what comes next. And so, Leo, Taika, and Lilu ventured beyond the meadow, into the unknown. They knew that as long as their hearts remained pure and their intentions sincere, the pages of the book would be filled with wonderful stories, profound lessons, and most of all, everlasting friendship. The road stretched out to the horizon, promising new adventures, mysteries to solve, and more friends to find. And as long as you keep reading, the story will continue, growing with every step they take and with every dream you, dear reader, imagine for them. Because in the land of stories, the story never ends, but always renews itself, like an eternal cycle of magic and hope.
Y con eso terminamos. Si te gustó este vídeo, asegúrate de suscribirte al canal. Además, te invitamos a ver el siguiente vídeo que te dejamos por aquí, para seguir mejorando tu nivel de inglés a base de práctica y repetición. Nos vemos allí.